Hello everyone and welcome to Slip Joint Sawyer. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of my favourite 91mm Victorinox Swiss Army knives that I really enjoy carrying, and actually some of my most used ones. Now these are my favourites, so there's a couple of standard models in there, there's a couple of customs which are basically standard ones with very minor tweaks, and there is actually two custom standard models, if that makes sense. So they're standard model, standard tools, just with like brass liners or like G10 liners or something like that. But all of these were available at some point, some of which now are unfortunately discontinued, but these are just sort of my favourite ones that I really enjoy carrying. So we go for the first one here, and this is one that was only really offered for Marlboro when they were doing their exclusive knives, and this is the Trail Guide. Now this is a 3-layer design, pretty much their sort of take on the compact, if I'm honest. All it really adds is the large file right down the middle, but it's a very useful tool, and I'm a big fan of having the file on any of the Swiss Army knives. But I have added the pin with a little black bead pin on the top there, just makes it a bit easy to get out, a bit simpler. And I've also added the black tools, so we have the black toothpick and the black tweezers on the front. Of course it does come with the small eyeglasses driver in the corkscrew. It just twists in, and then that just snaps down, that holds it in place. On the back then you also get the hook. Now unlike the compact, there is no file on the back here, but of course it's not needed with the large inline file. And you'll notice that any of the ones I enjoy carrying, they all have the smaller key tabs on there. I think they're a much better size than the larger ones. All I really put on these are like the little Victorinox lanyard, or I put a little pocket sort of clip on there which sort of dangles in my pocket, makes it a bit easier to carry. But this one is exactly as standard as you would pick it up. So you get the scissors, you get the large file in the middle, very useful. You also get the large main blade. I believe this one was from, yeah, the sort of the 90s period, with the bolt not touching the crossbow. So these aren't in pristine condition, they do get used quite a bit. And then on the back you get the combo tool, which is a sort of a combination between the cap lifter and the can opener. Get the wire strip at the bottom there, which has got a half stop as well, and it gives it a plus scale. So on the back you've got the pen. So that is the Trail Guide. Cool one if you can pick it up on the secondary market, but not a difficult one to mod. It's just really a compact with a large file right down the center. Pop that up there. Next up we have the Mountaineer. Now this is one you can pick up still on Amazon or on Handyman or any places that really sell the Victorinox Swiss Army knives. But this one I've upgraded with the sort of the ruby jelly scales, so that does give them the pen on the back as well. And I also upgraded it by adding a pin and the small corkscrew driver, but standard you wouldn't get that. I did also change the tools out to black ones because I enjoy the contrast and being able to see them in the channel of these sort of jelly scales. I think they look absolutely great. On the back then, of course, you get the corkscrew, you've got the parcel hook, which we just saw on the Trail Guide, and then you get the modern awl or the punch, which is pretty standard now for all models that have the cap lifter layer. Front then, can opener, large or small flathead. This is a very new one, so this isn't an old one. This is a sort of a pickup of maybe about 2 years old. You also get the scissors on here as well, which are a pain to get out. Large scissors. And then here is the file. So this is pretty much the same as the Trail Guide, minus the opening layer. And of course, as it has the opening layer, it doesn't have the combo tool. It has the pen blade and the main blade on there as well. And you can see by the tang that it's a modern one. But this is one that I really enjoy carrying. This is sort of my around the house sort of carry, or not really going anywhere sort of carry. It just makes sense for me to have. It's got all the tools on it I'm going to need for around the house. But it's a great one to pick up. Mountaineer is not very expensive, and it's definitely one of my favourite ones out there. I actually prefer this to the Huntsman because honestly I have no use for the saw on the Swiss Army knife, but I've got many uses for the file. So that's the Mountaineer. Next up, we'll take a look at the first, well, this is the main real custom, if I'm honest. Now, this is a compact. These scales I got aftermarket way after I got the knife. I just like them because they got the bear at the bottom. But if you notice, compact, it has the brass liners, and I had the corkscrews changed out for the Phillips driver. Of course, you've got the pin in there as well. Of course, without having the corkscrew, there's no corkscrew driver, but we have, again, the toothpick, the pen, and the tweezers. And this is the pocket dangler I was on about when I was talking about the trail guide. And then I just tie on the Victorinox lanyard on the end there, and all you see out of your pocket then is this lanyard, and you just pull that and then the whole knife comes out, which is excellent. Compact then has been a favorite for many years. Honestly, it's everything you'll ever need. So you have the scissors, you have the combo tool, you get the main blade on this one. But again, this is an easy mod to do. It's nothing sort of different or massively varied compared to what you would normally get of a compact. It's just adding the Phillips from a Tinker onto the back. So, I mean, this is a compact Tinker, I guess you would say. Compact Tinker X, however you want to put it. But you can see that Dan over at Blade Bridge Customs did that for me. Fantastic guy, does excellent knife work with his Swiss Army knives. But great action as well on this one. And then you get the parcel hook on the back, which has the diamond file on, which is nice. And the brass liners give it a little bit of extra weight, which is honestly excellent in the pocket. Feels like much more of a substantial knife when you've got the brass in there. So that is the custom compact. Next up is the oldest one in my collection. This is an original Spartan, or they would have called it back then. I think it was the model 234, I think was what they originally called it. Now you can see it was damaged, but it was repaired by Dan over at Blade Bridge. He did a great job. He sort of bonded them together and smoothed it off. But you can see it's nickel silver pins, nickel silver shield, the old style triangle punch, which has a channel out on the front. You can see that cut out there. You get the old style corkscrew as well, which has the 5 turns as opposed to the modern one, which has the 4 turns. Of course, there's no pinhole on this. It's before they started doing that. But it's pretty much the Spartan just before they had their own tools. So if I get both of them out, we can compare really to the modern day ones, and you can see the massive difference between when they created their own compared to what they were using before. So you can see the cap lifter difference, much sort of more of a triangle shape, a little bit less meat here than there is here, no wire stripper, but there is a much more heftier pry on this one. And then the can opener, old style, sort of the lobster claw style one, whereas the Victorinox one, when they engineered it to have a flat head on the end as well, which gives it a bit more functionality. But again, this thing is fantastic. This has got to be, I want to say like 40s, 50s. You'll be able to see off the tang stamp. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But it's got excellent action on the back. You get the nice slender little clip blade. Of course, this has seen quite a lot of use, but again, it's an old knife, so it's not going to bother me. But the snap's phenomenal. There's the main blade. You can see how much of that is actually left, but you can see where it's been sharpened down a little bit. But we've got the Army Swiss tang with the cross, and on the back it just says Victoria, Switzerland stainless. Now this is one that I love carrying, but doesn't get a whole lot of pocket time. So remember, this isn't the ones I carry the most. These are my favourite to carry. But you can see how much thicker the blade stock is on this. And it actually has, I believe that, are they nickel silver liners? They might be, you know, not entirely sure, but this thing is phenomenal. Just the history of this knife and the fact that it survived this long with the blades are basically untouched for the amount of the age of the knife. Fantastic. Love this thing. That is the sort of the past tense Spartan, I would say, really. It's called the Model 234. Next up, we have, this is the Yeoman. So Dan, again, over at Blade Bridge, made this one up for me. It is a standard Yeoman, just been made, obviously, not an original. It's got the corkscrew, the hook on the back. Now, it does have these sort of emerald green scales, which I picked up from one of the boys on the Discord, Wee Judd. Has the green tools on there as well. So you get, again, tweezers, toothpick, pen, nice little green lanyard on there. Being the Yeoman, it's pretty much a compact, but you get the inline driver and the magnifying glass. So you get the combo tool, you get the main blade, and this one is scratched to help as I use this one a lot. You can see Dan's logo on there. He made that up for me. And then you get the scissors, which are in the middle here. And then on the front, honestly, the best tools, inline Phillips driver, which makes the back driver look pathetic, to be honest, because it makes it so much more usable for me, being able to use it like this, rather than turning the whole knife like this. And then the main reason I've been carrying this a lot recently, so I've been going to a lot of antique sort of thrift stores, picking up older knives, and this is fantastic for picking up and reading the tangs of knives. So if I show you an example, we'll just use it on this, but you can really use this magnifying glass to bring it up, especially when they're older knives and they're worn out. It's hard to see the tang, especially to see where they're made, or even just what the company is. But this has been proven to be, you know, sort of indispensable. Fantastic tool. So the Yeoman, a fantastic one, a favourite among many members of the community, and you can really see why. But this is just black G10 liners in there, so it is a little bit lighter, but it's a nice sort of pocketable carry. And then finally, my favourite one, which probably going to be no surprise really, but it has got a new set of scales on it. This is the Companion, and it has these absolutely beautiful rosewood covers on there. Now I've had this for maybe about a year. It's gone through loads of changes since then. I actually sent it to Dan over at Blade Bridge Customs to get that made up. But it's a standard Companion, the 91mm, the Live to Explore. This was in New York with the different scales, but Dan very kindly put brass liners in there for me, so you can see pretty much all the standard stuff. Corkscrew, hook, we have the oar blade, and then in the front you get the new parcel opener, which has seen a lot of use. It's absolutely excellent, especially for those clamshell packages, you know, like with the heat shrunk plastic round stuff, and you can see where it's gone a bit flat there. I need to sort of sort that out. Needs a bit of work going in there, but honestly it is superb. I use it all the time, even for opening cardboard boxes. You know, if you just want to jab the end in and just drag it towards you, it's perfect for that. You get the cap lifter on the back, you get the scissors, you get the main blade, which Dan surprised me with and sent me this one back with a wonderful pin-up girl etched on the blade. Kind of hard to get that showing up. There we go, you can see that on there, and it's on both sides of the blade. And then on the back, the reason I love the Companion so much is it has the inline file, the small file as well, but it's a 91mm, so it's slightly bigger than the 84mm file. You can actually only find this on the Companion, I believe, but I think it's fantastic. But there we go, guys. That is my sort of favourite 91mm Swiss Army knives that I like to carry. Now, I do carry other ones as well, just these are my pick of the bunch, to be honest. Otherwise, I could be here all day telling you my favourite ones. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.